I feel like more games should have demos. It really should be mandatory at this point, because we get these cinematic trailers for games without any real gameplay, and worst of all, sometimes it's just a title drop letting us know it's years away from release, and it's like, why? What am I supposed to be excited for? I have nothing to go on to decide if this is even a game I would want to play, except for trust me, bro. Well, last time I trusted these games, I was clipping into the level geometry 15 minutes into the tutorial. I'm good, bro. You know, don't even give me a cutscene. Maybe just give me raw gameplay footage of the first boss or something. You know, the first Berserker Khazan looked sick, and I was immediately drawn to the art style. I didn't even know there was a playable demo until just recently. So as soon as I found out, I quickly rode my horse to the first bed I could find in Kingdom Come Deliverance so I could save my game, and I downloaded the demo right away. And you know what? After my third time playing through what we got so far, I have to say, Kazan is looking like it's going to be one of the biggest games this year. And this isn't just some little pick up and put down demo either. It has some meat on it. My first time playing through, it took me about 3 hours. It has 2 large explorable areas filled with loot and plenty of enemy variety. It's got skill trees and a few weapon styles to mess around with too. There's definitely enough here to get an early build ready because your progress crosses over when the game releases. And before I go any further, the first Berserker, it's a Souls-like game. Kind of. It's more of a hybrid between character action with Souls-like mechanics. You have your stamina, bonfire, corpse running. It's all here, but what's unique about Kazan is that combat feels like a fast-paced hack and slash. And in a lot of ways, that kind of fixes one of the issues I have with Souls-likes. I've joked around before with Dark Souls where I said it was both the slowest hack and slash game and the fastest turn-based RPG because of how slow the combat is. And don't get me wrong, I love Souls combat. It might be slow, but those swings have weight to them. It's deliberate and methodical, and every hit has this crunch to it. It's why I fell in love with the Souls series in the first place. But you have to admit, at least in the early FromSoft games, it doesn't exactly look very stylish to see in motion. This is true for a lot of indie Souls-likes as well. I don't know if it's just me playing too passively, but I feel like I'm waiting for the enemy to attack me so I can either roll out of the way or block, and then I'm so stingy with my stamina that I only go in for a couple hits at a time. Because you know what it's like when you try to get too greedy. I don't even use my heavy attacks because I'm like, well, that took too much stamina. And when I first started getting into Souls games, I did that thing where I get hit and I try to walk backwards and create distance so I can pop an Estus flask, which most of the time just caused me to die anyway. And it only took me several years to realize that I'm supposed to dodge the incoming attack and then replace my counterattack with an Estus. Does that make any sense? It's kind of what I mean by world's fastest turn-based RPG. Kazan feels different in the way that it incentivizes you to fight fast while attacking in between oncoming hits. It even rewards perfect dodging with extra stamina. It's something I didn't realize during my first run, and what frustrated me was that no matter what weapon I used, I felt like I was only dealing chip damage, which made the fights extremely tedious, especially when you die 10 minutes into the fight. This video was actually meant to be why I think this game sucks as a Souls-like, but I'm glad I decided to replay the demo because even though the boss fights felt tedious at first for me, that second boss fight was just so well designed with so many different attack patterns in that second phase, man. It was just so damn cool. When I started to play fast and aggressive, utilizing those perfect dodges, I was able to string together long combo chains, essentially stun locking that same boss, depleting his stagger gauge and going in for big damage. If you're new to Souls-like games, or if you're just exhausted with the genre, I think you're really gonna like Kazan. I mentioned that I was immediately captured by the art style of this game. It has this kind of HD anime look to it. while maintaining that dark fantasy vibe. The closest thing I can really compare it to is Tales of Arise, because it has that animated style that looks super clean, but it's also got that mix of realism. The art style just looks really unique, and I think that's what's going to draw most people in. The level design wasn't anything crazy like full-blown 3D Vania, but I found a lot of paths that led me to tucked away treasures, and a good amount of them looped back to checkpoints that I already activated. Even towards the end, there was this ladder that I kicked down, and it kind of felt like a little Dark Souls reference. It even has its own version of the Mikiri counter for all you Sekiro fans. And none of it feels like it's shoehorned in just to be a carbon copy. I said this before with games like Hollow Knight. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, you just need to make a really damn good wheel. Oh yeah, and some of those paths even led me to mini-boss encounters guarding said tucked away treasures. Kazan isn't perfect though. One major gripe that I have with the game is its gear progression. It feels a little too live servicey. One thing I don't like is when a game drops some random tiered helmet or whatever that gives you 1 point extra in defense just so you can replace it with another helmet that looks exactly the same less than 15 minutes later. It's just tedious in a game like this where you're constantly opening your inventory to equip some random bullshit throwaway. It just breaks up the gameplay too much. It was so exhausting that I just stopped equipping new gear altogether, and I only equipped the best gear I had gathered right before a boss fight. I don't think that it completely sours the experience, but it definitely felt out of place. What I would have much rather seen is the enemy drop rate toned way down, and an option to upgrade our gear at a blacksmith or something. I want to become attached to my loadout instead of constantly throwing that shit away. What it does do right though is its skill tree. I feel like every point that I invested in a new skill or passive felt meaningful. You know, like adding hits to your combos, getting extra stamina for perfect dodges, having special potent attacks. It felt cool to have this alongside regular stat upgrades at bonfires. And I can't wait to see what type of builds people come up with when this game comes out, because that stamina build kind of felt OP compared to the great sword strength build I tried to make on my first run. Kazan just really made me miss those days when you'd pick up a game magazine that would come with those demo discs. I can't tell you how many times I played through that beach level in Sonic Adventure, or how many times I played through Lost Planet and the Dead Rising demo back in the day on the Xbox 360. It's something I wish a lot more newer games would have, because not only does having hands-on first impressions of a game help to build hype, but it shows confidence that you made a game that people are going to have fun with. None of those bullshit CGI trailers that expect you to put in your pre-order right before gameplay even drops, trying to scam people into buying some broken, buggy mess at launch. Just clear transparency with what type of game we're getting. Is it going to be something everybody rushes out to buy? No. But for the people who do play it and fall in love with it, they're going to remember that demo, which is especially important in today's saturated market where if your game isn't readily available, it's easily forgotten. A lot of Xbox owners like myself are starting to forget about Black Myth after seeing Wu Chang fall in feathers, and Kazan is going to be competing with AI Limit, another stylish game with a playable demo. You gotta strike while the iron's hot, and Kazan is proof of that. Once it's out and reviews start dropping, I'm gonna remember it simply because I know it exists. It's something I've already played and enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Are you excited for the First Berserker? Have you played the demo yet? Talk to me in the comments. Alright, bye.